It's the third day at the House of Tiny Tearaways, and it's already looking like Dr Tanya Bryon has her work cut out.
No, don't. No. You're a bad boy. I just don't think I should have came here.
This is the House of Tiny Tearaways. After 2 days of doubt, is Tanya starting to make progress? She's been given just 6 days to solve the family's eating, sleeping and behaviour problems in what she hopes will be an environment of mutual support. The design and construction of the house has been completed in conjunction with a committee of childcare experts to make sure that it's a safe, fun place for kids to stay, whilst also recreating a realistic and practical home environment.
My challenge is to help as many families as I can, and I've been given just 6 days to do it.
The Hadley family from Leicester are seeking help with their 3.5-year-old daughter Lucie and her tantrums. The stress of the situation has also put a severe strain on their own relationship, and working together is proving a big challenge. The Murphy family are trying desperately to manage their son's eating problems. 2.5-year-old Isaac won't eat a proper meal unless it's been liquidised, and 5-year-old Jacob refuses to feed himself. Single mum Michelle Wright is physically and emotionally exhausted by her sons, 3.5-year-old Matthew and 2-year-old Ross. Their constant night wakings are leaving her seriously sleep-deprived. When you have children, you can expect a certain number of sleepless nights, but what mum Michelle Wright endured last night can only be described as a night from hell.
Go to sleep.
Tanya has been working with Michelle on a technique called Gradual Withdrawal, which will reduce Matthew and Ross's dependency on having mum with them when they wake during the night, and encourage them to settle themselves back to sleep without her. This is the 11th time Michelle has been woken in just 6 hours, and the withdrawal technique is getting harder to sustain. On the 16th waking, Michelle's resolve is running low.
Please lie down.
After getting up 21 times, Michelle is exhausted, both physically and emotionally. After an emotionally draining night and getting just 3.5 hours of disrupted sleep herself, it's breakfast time for single mum Michelle.
I was just so wavering last night. I felt like just shoving his bottle in. Last night was the first night in a good few nights that I felt that I don't know if I can keep doing this.
Clever boy. Paula and Steve Murphy desperately want help with their son's severe eating problems. 5-year-old Jacob refuses to feed himself, and 2.5-year-old Isaac, who will happily eat ice cream cones and biscuits, won't eat a proper meal unless it's been liquidised, and even then, only if he's distracted.
What's that?
Egg.
Yesterday, during lunch, Tanya encouraged Jacob to eat with some of the other children and leave him to learn from what he could see them doing. The result, Jacob ate a plate of chips by himself for the very first time. Tanya thinks that Mum Paula and Dad Steve's anxiety at mealtimes is the cause of Isaac's eating problem, so she's instructed them to be more relaxed with food. Yesterday, encouraged by his parents, Isaac played with a variety of new foods.
Oh, clever boy!
Well done.
This morning, Paula is attempting to give Isaac his breakfast. To help him progress with his eating habits, she sat him at the table rather than his high chair for the very first time, and is following Tanya's advice to be more assertive.
No, we're going to have some breakfast. There we go. Oh, look at the spoon. No. No, you can have it when you've eaten your breakfast.
You're doing great there, Paula. At least the book's away.
He's got no books and he's not at the high chair. But I'm still feeding him, but one step at a time.
You've done great.
Come on, sit round. Eggert, turn round. Turn around.
Eggert.
Turn around. No. Look, come on. Eggert, do it, look. You're going to eat some of that?
You think he might be full up?
No. He eats the whole bowl.
But he's only got a tiny tummy. He's full. To me.
I see it now as if...
We'll make him have 2 more.
No, he's not got his own way. He's just full up. Wait a minute, let me just do this. It doesn't matter if he's got his own...
You do what you want.
Yeah, I'm going to say you do what you want. I'm just pointing that out through my eyes. But if you think that he needs it, you're his mummy, you know.
3-and-a-half-year-old Matthew and 2-year-old Ross Wright's severe sleep problems also affects their behaviour in the day, continually testing the patience of Mum Michelle.
Was it an accident? Ross, don't do it! Listen, you've got to roll along the floor. Okay, it's a football. No! Right.
You don't throw it to either. He's a good boy.
I know he is. You're not getting it if you throw it.
He's not getting any sweeties. He's
Sweetheart,
not
you
getting
can't
any
throw it.
sweeties. He's not getting any sweeties.
Stop saying that. Stop picking on him. Just leave him alone. It's a wee accident and it's all forgotten about. Good boy. Just roll it. That's excellent. That's what to do. I'm going in there anyway. Cheers.
Tanya, beginning of day 3. Let's talk about the families and how they've progressed. First up, Michelle Wright, exhausted. How was her night for her?
It started off really well. She settled them really, really quickly. I mean, within about 10 minutes. Matthew went straight to sleep. The incentive of the treat in the morning worked for him.
Brilliant.
Ross took a bit of time, wriggled around, but she just sat there and he went to sleep. So it started off well, and then it all sort of went a bit downhill from there, really.
Wasn't she up 17 times?
She was up 17 times with Ross. But she was only up 4 times with Matthew. Matthew almost slept the night through, and the amount of crying that Ross did in the bedroom last night, Matthew didn't wake up. So that's a really important bit of learning for her, that she doesn't have to worry about one if the other one wakes.
Why is Ross waking up 17 times a night?
He is younger, so I couldn't do the incentive work with him because he doesn't understand it. Actions are the only thing that's going to teach him, not words. I can't negotiate with him like I can with Matthew.
What are your plans for her today, then?
Oh, lots of TLC from me and everybody else in the house. What is so great about this house at the moment, Claudia, is that the other families are just brilliant and they are really supporting her. And everybody's mucking in and really kind of keeping her going. She's having a sleep today. I'm doing some very brief consultations, nothing major for her. And I'm going to do a little bit of work with her around how she can be more assertive with her boys during the day. Because she's so tired, she finds it hard to say no to them behaving badly during the day. And I want to give her some encouragement to do that.
That's the Wrights. Let's talk about the Murphys, who have had quite a tricky journey so far.
Yes.
How are the Murphys doing?
I feel clearer in my mind at the beginning of day 3 what the Murphys' problem is, which is that their son Jacob does not have a feeding problem. It's a behaviour problem which is pretty much gone. Give him an incentive, give him some attention and he will eat, like a trooper.
How do they feel about that? They must feel quite happy.
Well, I think they're happy, but I think it's so overshadowed by Isaac's eating problem, which actually is a real eating problem. He is anxious around food, and I have worked with kids who have food phobia, but it doesn't feel like the same kind of anxiety. It's not a phobic, oh my God, I can't go near that food. It's an anxiety because it's unfamiliar. But this little boy, I think, is actually quite manipulative with his behaviour. And I definitely know that Paula has seen that. But Steve, I think, is still breaking his heart over it all.
You've got 3 days left. Where's your target now? I mean, what would you like him to be able to do?
I know I can do a lot of good things and I can work with children and their families very quickly, but this little boy, his feeding problems are very entrenched. So the cautious part of me says, by the end of this period of time in the house, the parents will know what to do.
Right.
But the feeding behaviour might not have changed. But there's a part of me that thinks, why not? Why can't it? There must be something. So he, at the moment, is my big challenge in my head.
Morning.
You having a nice morning?
Yeah.
Yes? Good.
Alison and Richard Hadley are hoping to get help with 3.5-year-old daughter Lucie's attention-seeking tantrums. Mum Alison and Dad Richard's different opinions on how to deal with Lucie's behaviour causes enormous tension, edging their relationship to the brink of collapse. A situation made worse by Mum Alison's overly clingy relationship with her daughter. Yesterday, Tanya asked Dad Richard to look after Lucie all day, while Alison took a back seat. This first step of separation proved to be a tough emotional test for Mum.
How was yesterday for you?
It was a strange day, it was a different day. I mean, I don't normally have her to a day like that. And I was a bit annoyed with you because you came to the door and said, would you like a drink? She wants Alison, and then there's Alison in the glass door going like, woo, and she knows
But
she
I wasn't.
can get...
I was just trying to... thinking, God, all that screaming. She might need a bit of a drink.
That was a big test for both of you, that tantrum. And I mean, from my point of view, to be really blunt, you both could have handled it a lot better. Obviously, to put yourself in the vision of your child looking distressed is not a good idea because you're just going to distress your child. The thing about Lucie is that her tantrums are a way of maximising her attention. And we really need to look at ways in which you can give her the message that actually she's going to get no attention.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's why you're here.
Yeah, to learn.
That's why you're here.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we need to focus on that. Today we're going to get practical though. You're going to go play golf today. You're going to take her to play crazy golf. You're going to go and teach her. So you've got the whole experience together. But I want you to set some boundaries. I mean, I need you to use this as a really good behaviour experiment. Just so that we know, where does she normally sit? In the car.
In the back.
Alison sits at the back with her, and that's where she wants to get on her knee, because Alison's in
And
the
do
back.
you let her on your knee sometimes?
Sometimes,
Right,
yeah.
okay, so we agree today she's in her own seat with the seatbelt, absolutely.
Yeah.
She's told very clearly she only gets treated at the end of the day if she behaves well and doesn't have a tantrum. And if she has a tantrum, you both agree you will ignore it as much as you can, and then you will talk to each other, support each other, walk away from her, not make eye contact with her. Every so often go down, look at her, very clear instruction, up again. And if it carries on to the point where you feel you've gone beyond no return, that's it, we're going home and there's no treat, and you take her by the hand and you literally walk her to the car. Good luck. It's like an SAS exercise.
Michelle was woken 21 times last night while settling her boys Matthew and Ross back to sleep. The effort and exhaustion of getting very little rest herself is starting to show.
I don't think I should have came here.
You should have come here. You should have come here. You're doing brilliant.
It's just all on show and I just can't.
Yeah, but
I can't look after them. Ross is driving me nuts.
You can look after them. You're looking after them
He keeps
fantastically.
hitting everyone.
And it is hard when you're on your own with it. And you are on your own. You've got no support, have you?
There's
There's
plenty of mums that doesn't have the dads there and they can do it. It's just,
You're just the
they
same
just
as
don't do
everybody
anything I ask them.
No, come on. And that's what you're here for, isn't it? Okay, that's what you're here for, and we're going
I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Go on.
But I just don't think I should have came here.
Yes, you should.
It's
Go
too
on,
hard.
go and take time out in the bathroom.
I'm going to take him with me because he's just going to start.
Well,
They'll get work. He's got to just hide for 5 minutes. I'll be back, but thank you. Come on. Leave. Do you want to stay here with me, Matthew?
Shut up, baby.
You stay here with us. Oh. Come on, Darren, it's all right. That was with the rain earlier, darling. Right, I'm just going to play just now and I'll just be 1 wee minute, okay? Mummy's got sore eyes. They've got the same sore eyes as you two had. Go and play just for 2 minutes, boys.
What are you crying for?
Hello, boys.
What are you crying for?
Just can't keep it together in here.
You can, and you will. But last night was a tough night. The first night you got through it because it was the honeymoon period and yes, we're going to go for it. Last night, last night they did a lot better. But for you, it was just as much of a nightmare, wasn't it? Yeah. This is partly sleep deprivation on your part. So we've got to put it into a context. You're exhausted. So we're all going to hang out with the boys later, so you've got to have a sleep today. Do you feel you can continue?
Yeah, it's just... It sounds horrible. But he just keeps pushing me today.
You're very tired. I don't think he's behaving that differently, but you've set a new boundary in his life, so he's going to push you in other ways. It happens. But if you were not so tired, you wouldn't be feeling like this. No! What do you say to Mummy? What do you say to Mummy? Right, what you can do is you can put him in his bedroom if you want to. You just pick him up. Just pick him up and you say, try to hold it and say you don't throw things, and then you put him in his room.
Right, no throwing things, OK?
Much more assertively.
Because you can hurt people if you throw things, and you know that.
Put him in his room and then shut the door for
So you get in the room just for a couple of minutes, just so you know you do not throw things. And then Ross is going to get the same.
Right, and then shut the door. That's it. And we'll leave him. Right. You've got the worst problem in the house from the mental point of view because you're exhausted. No. So he just needs to know that he stays there. Yeah? Do you understand?
Yeah.
And this is a very clear message to him that he can't control you. And it's about being more assertive with your boys so they're not always demanding your attention as they do. When you open the door, you say to him, you get down on the level and you say to him very assertively, you threw something at me, I don't like it, I put you in your room. OK, so do you want to say this to him?
Yeah.
But be very clear with him why he did that. Because he's learning a lesson.
OK.
OK? All right, off you go. I'll watch.
Wait a minute. Right, you can come out now. But listen, do you know why you went in there? It's because you threw something at Mum, and you really hurt people if you throw things. So listen, the next time you throw something, you're going back in your room.
It's the third day in the house of tiny tearaways, and Dr Tanya has a massive challenge on her hands if she's to solve the parenting problems of this week's 3 families. Bedtime is when Mum Michelle Wright's nightmare begins. With her sons, Matthew and Ross, waking over 20 times a night, she's getting increasingly stressed and even more sleep-deprived. Attending to their constant waking has left her with little more than 4 hours sleep a night for the last 2 years. Now at breaking point, it's all proving too much for Michelle to handle.
I feel terrible.
Oh, sweet. Let me sit.
So sorry.
The Hadley family's home life is teetering on the brink of disaster. Their daughter, Lucie's manipulative tantrums have torn their relationship apart. Alison has put herself at the mercy of her daughter, Lucie's every demand. Mum's compliant behaviour has pushed Dad to the limit. Stress is high on their agenda, and Dr Tanya is working on some radical solutions.
Go on, you're not going in. Mummy's doing something.
The Murphy boys' eating habits are causing Mum Paula and Dad Steve real problems, and learning that they are the cause of the problem has hit them hard. 2.5-year-old Isaac eats crisps and ice cream cones, but rejects a proper meal unless it's pureed. His 5-year-old brother Jacob often refuses to eat unless he's spoon-fed, but Tanya has made unbelievable progress by allowing Jacob to watch the other children while eating. This simple social learning exercise has cracked the problem, and now he's happily eating of his own accord.
Good boy.
Still to come.
It's quite weird that it's so simple, and that perhaps if we'd done that more often, it would have been all right.
It's time for the Hadleys to take 3.5-year-old Lucie on her trip to the crazy golf course. When travelling in a car, Lucie would normally sit on her mother's lap, but Tanya has specified she must sit in a child's seat on her own, and Lucie starts to make a meal of not getting her own way.
Let's take your umbrella down.
Yeah, I'll give you the umbrella, so you put her in the seat. And she's...
Lucie, look at Mummy. Look at Mummy. Stop that noise. If you don't stop that noise, I'm not going to talk to you, okay? Stop it.
Come on, please. We're going in the car now. In you go. There's your seat. Good girl.
Lucy, if you don't sit in this chair, I'm going to get very cross with you. I'm going to sit here next to you, okay?
Mummy's going to sit next to you.
You're not sitting on my knee. What are you doing?
She's done up, I think.
Oh, she goes under there.
Come on, please. You can't sit on Mummy's knee in a car.
Lucy, stop it.
Come on, sit still.
After Michelle's toughest night yet, is there any encouragement she can take from her boys waking up 21 times, leaving her with little more than 3.5 hours broken sleep herself?
So I've got some very interesting news for you. I've got some good news.
Okay.
And I've also got some news which, from my point of view as a psychologist, is the news I was expecting to give you.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you want first?
Give me the bed.
The bad news will be Ross.
There's a surprise.
Yeah, bless him. Now, Ross slept for only 7 hours and 25 minutes last night. You were up 17 times in the night. I watched you settle him last night and you did that brilliantly. So the thing we know is both your boys now can settle themselves off to sleep in a bed without milk and a bottle. So for Ross, the first night, he was asleep for 10.5 hours. Last night, he was asleep for just under 8 hours and he was awake for about 4 hours. I mean, he's had less sleep, you've had less sleep.
The other thing was, the night before last night, I was more my head on his pillow, cuddling him, and I had more patience. But last night, there was times where I just sat in the middle of the floor and I just let him scream.
For you to sit there, it'll probably take slightly longer, but he knows you're there. So, and he wasn't distressed last night. He was making a fuss, but he was lying down. This is progress from my point of view. It doesn't look like progress. It looks like he's taken a step backwards. This is more than he's ever done at home. But this is learning. Tonight, what we hope for is to see that it continues up again.
Yeah.
Now for the really, 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 really good news. Matthew did brilliantly. Look at that. He slept for 10 hours and 35 minutes last night.
Amazing.
But he's a star because you have persevered in conditions that most people would have buckled under. And a lot of parents say to me, oh, I can't solve the sleep problem if I've got both kids in the same room because one will wake the other up. If you manage to get one into a good sleep pattern, and you've started that with Matthew, you find that they learn to sleep through their siblings crying. So we're on the right track.
Yes.
The Hadleys are on their way out to a crazy golf course. It's their first chance to test out what they've learnt.
I think it'll be a good test today to see if we can actually unite together and to spend the whole day as a family and to enjoy it instead of being stressed out and having Lucie spoil it.
Let's get out now. Open
Here we
door.
are, we're here. Let Mummy get out first.
You got the umbrellas?
Yeah. You manage. Oh.
No, don't threaten it too early. Come on. On my hand, Mummy.
Tanya has instructed Alison and Richard to ignore Lucie when she plays up, showing her that she gets no attention for bad behaviour.
I don't know, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like I said, she's still walking.
Yeah.
I mean, she's going to be like... Lucie, stop behaving like that. You're not being carried. You're walking with us, OK?
No, I'm doing what Daddy says. No.
Now, stop it. Otherwise...
Come on.
All we've got to do is go around here now.
Go this way. Do you want to go in this puddle? Jump in the big puddle.
Come on then, Mummy, round we
In
go.
the past, everyone would get stressed and the tantrum would get worse.
Come on. Oh, good, Lucy.
Hold Mummy's hand. Good girl. Good girl. Can't believe that, how well that went. She just come up and held my hand. Unbelievable. What's in here?
Mummy, what you do? Oh, it's hit that stick. Well, notice it's so hard. Oh, it's in the hole. When we first arrived here, it was really as a normal day would be, because Lucy was just kicking off. She wanted to carry. That's just how it would be. And usually what would happen is Alison would pick her up and we'd be in a bad mood straight away, because I'd say, leave her alone, let her walk. And there'd be arguments straight away before we even got in the park. So, typical day. But the only problem is today wasn't a typical day. We worked out what we was going to do, and even though it took about 20 minutes, surprise, surprise, by the time we got to here, there was no tears.
Is it nice you having Mummy and Daddy with us? Not arguing. But nice. But nice.
When you're at home, don't you start arguing?
No, we won't start arguing when we get home. We promise, don't we, Daddy?
Mm.
How's that?
When Mummy starts, you start, don't you?
Yeah.
You
But you
get
think
mad
that's
with Mummy, don't you?
Sometimes.
awful? She's saying that.
Sometimes.
Lucy said Mummy and Daddy haven't argued, and to hear your child say that, it's just heartbreaking. It just makes you feel awful, absolutely awful, that we have done that and she knew it all along. She's cleverer than we are, and just, God, it hurts. It really, really hurts.
The only solids 2.5-year-old Isaac will eat are ice cream cones and biscuits. Any normal meal has to be pureed, and even then Dad Steve and Mum Paula are forced to use distractions to feed him. Yesterday, Tanya used a messy picnic to work on Isaac's anxiety around food, but is still concerned that Paula and Steve's anxious behaviour at mealtimes will continue to be a major stumbling block in solving the problem. This morning, Tanya provided Isaac with his very own booster seat to get him out of his high chair for good. She wants him to be treated like a toddler, not as a baby, at mealtimes. Now at lunchtime, and Tanya has asked Paula and Steve to personalise Isaac's high chair with stickers so he feels ownership of it.
Come here.
Oh.
Ready?
Whoosh.
Eggett's
Eggett's chair. Where is it?
Oh, Eggett's a big boy.
Eggs.
Dad.
Bear.
Teacher.
I tell you, you're on the way to the rosette,
Are you
mate.
sitting on a bear?
We are just going to go, big boy, well done. No high chair, he's in his big boy chair and he's having his lunch. Is he not?
Well done.
Tanya wants to measure the Murphy's response to stress during mealtimes and will hook them up to a biofeedback monitor.
Stress levels.
The monitor measures sweat levels, which is a major indicator of stress.
Oh my goodness, I can't help this child. He's just not really well. And oh my God, he's never going to eat again. And oh my God, I'm mad. Okay, and relax. This child will eat. It's all good. Everything's going well in the house. I've had success with children before with eating problems. I'm a weirdo.
That's what I was thinking.
To give Paula and Steve time alone with Isaac and concentrate on this exercise, Michelle Wright has taken their other son, Jacob, outside to play with her two boys, Matthew and Ross.
Your hand.
Mum Paula is first to be wired up to the monitor. An average reading for stress levels is between 50 to 60 units.
Can I have a biscuit?
Mum Paula seems to be coping well, with her stress levels steady at around 57 units.
This one. What's in there? Can we see? Should we put them on the table?
Oh, here they are.
Where is it? Which is Eggett's biscuit?
Here.
Good boy.
Biscuit.
Mummy's at 67, Eggett. You're going to make her explode a bit. Good boy. Excellent boy.
Good boy.
Excellent boy. Right, you just need to kind of control your breathing a little bit. Just a few breaths. That's it. You're managing it really well.
You are.
Next up is Dad Steve. As the more anxious parent of the two, how high will his stress levels be?
84, 85. Very stressed, very anxious. Yes. 87. Okay, so... Yeah.
Crisp.
Good.
Can I have one? Huh?
You're seriously stressed. 70 is the kind of my top level. I want to get you down to 70. You could say to him, have some yogurt and then you can get out to play.
Do you want to go out? Right, yogurt. Ready? Oh! Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, no.
What am I going to do now?
Good, it's coming down.
That's good, Daddy.
Daddy's going down and his stress levels up and down, up and down. We're doing really well.
Eggert, put it in the tunnel. Ready,
You do it.
steady, Eggert,
Ready?
go.
1, 2, 3, go! Oh,
In the tunnel.
In the tunnel.
In the tunnel, yeah!
Oh, yeah! Scooby-Doo! Daddy's down.
Very good boy. We should quit while we're ahead. And he needs to end this meal with you two being the happiest parents in the world. And because you've eaten such a good dinner, because you're such a good boy in your big boy chair, we are going to go out and play.
Okay.
Your stress levels are pretty high, but you did extremely well there.
Earlier in the day, the Hadleys were sent out by Tanya on a trip to a crazy golf course. The idea of the trip was to see if Mum and Dad could work together to control 3.5-year-old Lucie's tantrums.
But I just wanted to show you some clips because you have done extremely well today, really well. And I do think it's because you're beginning to parent together. And this is what I want to work on from tomorrow. We'll pause in between each of them. Here's the first one. This is tantrum in the car.
Still. There's not really much emotion there.
No, it's just all
When you look at
voice,
it like
isn't
that.
it?
There you go. There's absolutely no emotion there at all.
No.
What
'cause
was
when
she
she's
doing?
Just making a
Making
noise.
a noise.
Her face was completely...
Still, motionless, wasn't it? Her eyes
When
weren't
you're doing
crying or
it.
anything, it was just a noise coming out of her
Well,
mouth.
when it's happening, you think that she's actually going through a proper tantrum because I don't,
Well, you
you know.
think that she's upset, don't
Yeah,
you,
you
and
just don't
crying
notice
and
it.
everything, but you don't notice that.
She knows how to push your buttons. So 10 out of 10 for that one.
I felt that we
Congratulations.
did well.
You did really well. Let's look at the next one then. Let's see what happens with the next one.
Come on. On my hand, Mummy.
What I really liked about what you did there, what was the bit I really liked?
We'll just hold my hand and carry on walking.
You said, let's hold hands, Mummy. And you said, let's hold hands, Mummy. And you went, yeah, let's hold hands. And you held hands. And she's like, oh, no. I just can't get past them.
Yeah.
You were totally and utterly united and interesting. Oh, what?
I was trying to hide that. No, just thinking about it, that, you know, that we could... It's quite weird that it's so simple, and that perhaps if we'd have done that more often, it would have been all right. It just hits home sometimes, you know, sometimes you're an idiot.
Is it bad to cry? Is it wrong to cry?
It's not wrong to cry, but I just don't like to.
In my rather nasty, cruel psychology way, in terms of what I'm going to say to you, I'm so pleased that this has broken through to you, because the most effective parenting comes from your heart. You have to really believe what you're doing.
It's because you just
We'll have to see.
feel so guilty that something so simple, and we thought that we were trying to do
Well,
the
at
best
the time,
for
yeah,
her.
you think it hits you that actually it's not Lucie that's doing that. It's us.
It's the third day in the house of tiny tearaways, and this week's families are still presenting Tanya with a whole host of problems. Last night, single mum Michelle Wright was woken 21 times by her sons, 3.5-year-old Matthew and 2-year-old Ross. The gradual withdrawal technique Tanya has taught her will eventually help the boys settle themselves back to sleep. but the effort required to see it through has left Michelle exhausted and on the verge of giving up.
I just don't think I should have came here. It's too hard.
There is little relief during the day for Michelle either. Matthew, and particularly Ross's uncontrollable behaviour, is almost more than she can cope with. But Tanya has taught Michelle the first important steps in assertiveness, which is starting to show the boys that mum means business. The Murphys are desperate to solve the eating problems of their 5-year-old son Jacob and 2.5-year-old Isaac. Jacob refuses to show any interest in food and will only eat when spoon-fed, whilst little brother Isaac refuses to eat any proper meal that hasn't been pureed. The strain of their children's problems is causing the Murphys to become increasingly stressed, and Dr Tanya knows she must find a way to calm them down at mealtimes if her techniques are to stand a fighting chance. The Hadleys from Leicester are trying to cope with 3.5-year-old daughter Lucie. Her attention-seeking tantrums have taken her parents to breaking point and almost forced Dad Richard out of the equation altogether. Their own personal issues and fractured parenting have been an enormous hurdle for Tanya to overcome. But with a more united front now evident with Alison and Richard, they're starting to gain better control of their daughter's manipulative behaviour. Still to come, single mum Michelle gets to grips with getting tough.
You're a bad boy. Go over there.
Outside, all the children are playing, and Mum Hadley is talking to Dad Murphy.
From what I've seen,
Just having a cigarette talking to Steve.
I want you to press me on there.
Oh well, can I just have my cigarette first? Good girl. See, normally that would have been
on and on and on and on.
and she would have just gone on and on and on and thrown herself around on the floor.
So it's working already.
The
Excellent.
business about getting her in the car seat in the car, I mean, usually I had to get my neighbour out to come and help me to get her in a car seat before, to get her to play school, because she just will not get in. She's so strong that I physically can't do it by myself.
It just strikes me as such a good little girl. You can't... I wouldn't have thought that, to be honest.
Poor Michelle, she's got it so hard.
Yeah, she's had a kip this afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, late this morning.
Oh my goodness me.
What?
Having a wee.
Where?
Matthew, that is naughty.
Oh, in the garden.
What have they done?
No, just Matthew, has he got a nappy on?
No.
I think he wants a wee-wee.
This boy is...
He just told me to go down there. I said, why? Because I want to do a wee-wee.
Well, he's going to do a wee wee at the fence again. It's because I let him do that the other day.
All right.
Oh, in the garden.
Yes!
Not funny.
Well, you got to go, haven't you, mate?
Has he done
He
it?
did tell me that he wanted a wee, actually.
Have you done it?
He's
That's
done
it.
it outside.
At least he pulled his trousers down.
Good, that's still good.
Although she's encouraged Mum Michelle to be more assertive with her two boys, Matthew and Ross, Tanya has noticed she's still struggling to control them. Tanya's decided to take Michelle into the garden for an intensive one-on-one self-assertiveness session.
Who wouldn't?
I know.
I have been watching you, obviously with the boys during the day. Your response seems incredibly mild compared to what they're doing. I've seen them at the gate a lot at the kitchen going, and you're kind of going, oh, don't do that. And then what you'll do is you'll bend over and you'll pick one of them up and you'll hold him, and then he stops, and then the other one's going, ah! So
He wants to be picked up.
Right, so what message are you giving your child?
To scream and they'll get what they want.
I think I need to teach you to be more assertive with your sons. Because otherwise, if your boys think that all this behaviour is fine, they're going to go to nursery and they're going to go to school and they're going to get a bad reputation, and then it's going to...
I didn't realise until coming in here and spending all this time with Ross that he hits other children.
Yeah.
I really thought it was only Matthew and Ross. I thought they were like that with each other.
But they get a lot of attention from you when they're fighting as well. Listen, let's do some sort of practice. Let's do some kind of role play, OK? Imagine that I'm one of your boys.
Right.
OK, I'm Ross. And I've just done something, and I'm like, and all this stuff, and what he does is, and he's so cute in his little vest, and he's like, like this, and you're exhausted, and he's like, Mommy! Yeah. And he's just kicked his brother, or bitten his brother, or punched a kid, or whatever. How would you say to him that you didn't like what he'd just done? I want to hear a voice from you that I believe, okay? So give me your kind of regular don't do that kind of voice.
Don't do that.
And you've got a sweet face on and you're so lovely and you're kind of, don't do that. Let's meet in the middle for a minute. Come, meet me here. It's good to get down on their level and it's good to make eye contact. So if we, okay, so look, I'm little now. Okay, here I am. This is about the right size, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, but if you were to come down, show me how, so you'd come down like that?
I'd come down and I would kind of hold them
Right.
and say, don't do that, that's not nice.
Yeah. Now, you see,
that's me being quite firm.
Right. I don't think the voice and the face convey the clear message. And I actually think, don't do that, that's not nice. 6 words, you could have just done 1.
No.
Which is no. I mean, but it's not no, or no, or no, or no, it's no. Okay, let's do it standing up first, but really, really look at me. I mean, I want to see in your face that you're really annoyed. Think of something they've done that's really annoyed you. You're already looking, yeah, go on.
No, I says no.
Yeah, better.
I think that's quite severe.
Well, what's wrong with being severe? I've just kicked somebody, or if I bit you or kicked you, I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't teach them, they are going to go to nursery and bite and kick other children, and then they're going to get a reputation.
Yeah.
Say no. Just say no.
No. No. I said no. No. No.
Obviously, I'm not their mother, and it's easier for me, but in the same way that I can walk into the house and say to some of the children, stop doing that, and
instantly
they'll
listen.
stop.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can sit with the child and encourage them to eat, and they'll eat because they believe me.
Yeah.
One more, go on.
I said no.
You see, now that kind of got into me. Imagine you're out with all your mates, with a load of girls, and there's a couple of blokes and they're eyeing you up and they're getting a bit kind of full on. Eventually you're going to get to the point where you're going to say to them, look, I said no. Imagine that bloke sliming up to you. How would you tell him no?
I said no.
Brilliant.
That felt good there. Yeah.
I'm giving you permission to get tough with your boys.
I said no.
That's it. The whole face, your expression in your eyes. Being an assertive mother is not being a horrible mother. I'm not asking you to be aggressive. I'm not saying beat your kids. I'm not saying scream at your kids. Shouting doesn't work very well with children. I'm not saying swear at your kids. I'm saying get down on their level, use your face and show them that you mean business so that they have to start taking notice of you.
It's only half an hour since Michelle had her assertiveness training and the children are all playing nicely.
What's your name? Russ. What's your name? Russ. What's your name? Bryan. Yeah. Yeah.
That was bad. Bad.
Oh dear.
You are a bad boy. Go over there. Right now. So not happy. Sit down. Do not hit. That was so bad. Stay here. Stay there.
No.
Don't move.
No.
Stay there. Are you sorry?
Sorry.
Go and say sorry to Isaac right now.
Sorry, Isaac.
So how has today gone? Let's talk about them in turn. First up, Michelle Wright, exhausted. You said to me this morning, you said, I'll just do a few consultations. I'll make them really short because she's just so tired. How has her day gone?
Her day's gone really well. She started the day saying, maybe I shouldn't have come, and crying with me, and I can understand why she was exhausted. She had an hour's sleep, which I think has really helped. She also was able to see that with Matthew especially, the sleep is progressing at a really good rate. Ross is going to be more tricky, but there's still progress in the sense that he is settling himself in his bed, he's napping in his bed, something he's never done before.
The Hadleys, you sent them to play golf.
I did. It went really well. It went really well. Today feels like a day that has pushed my head forward into a more optimistic space, I have to say.
Oh, good.
For myself, because I did feel a little bit exhausted and crestfallen yesterday, thinking what a mountain I have to climb. But so the Hadleys, yes, they went and played golf. Good example of united parenting. Lucie, bless her, put up a few tantrums. They ignored her, they just carried on, and she stopped having tantrums.
Is that the key then? Just ignoring?
If you don't want it, ignore it.
You said this to me last night, that Isaac Murphy was your biggest problem in the house, that he had a severe eating problem, but Jacob was on the mend. Where do you stand on the Murphys now?
I was really worried about Isaac last night. He was my crestfallen moment. I just thought, oh, what can I do? Because there were so many things. This morning, Paula just decided, completely off her own bat, OK, high chair gone. High chair gone.
Tanya's been working with the Murphy family to make mealtimes less anxious and eating without distractions like books and toys more fun for 2.5-year-old Isaac.
Weren't you?
She set up a food Olympics for Isaac and 5-year-old brother Jacob.
Take your time, but what you need to do is underneath each of these is a special food that I know you both like, and what you need to do is you eat some of the food and then you go to the next one, and then you go to the next one, and then the next one. And what have we got at the very end? If you eat all your supper, what have you got for you? What's that?
Sweeties. Some sweeties.
I think they're your favourites, aren't they? And this as well, which
You get a cup.
you get to keep. And what have we got for Isaac here?
Egg.
Good boy. To get your egg, are you going to eat something from each of my plates?
Yeah.
An egg.
Just
You do
a little
1,
bit.
2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay.
Okay.
So you
Shall we
eat
do it?
You eat.
Go, go, go.
Hang on,
Oh,
no,
off you
on
go,
the chair.
boys. And you
On the
sit
chair.
on your big boy
Lift it
chair.
up.
And
Lift it
let's
up.
have Oh. Oh.
No.
You got to eat. If you eat
Good
it,
boy,
you're a good boy,
You have to eat
Jacob.
it.
Just one bite.
One bite. Bite it.
Mine.
Yeah.
Well done, you.
Oh, good boy. In your
eating
chair, you eat this, and then you get the egg.
What is it? What is okay, well, you
Well
carry on.
done,
Let's see how you do.
super.
Because it's good he can see his brother as well. I mean, are you prepared that if he eats nothing, he doesn't get his egg?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, he's going to see him do it, and then.
Yes, so we can
Jacob's
just leave
doing
it.
it. Look at Jacob.
And what you're doing brilliantly,
Well
Paula,
done.
is
Boy.
lots of praise for the child who's doing it. Yeah? You're going to go to the next one?
What's under there?
Bob's doing it.
Oh.
Bob's winning. Bob's winning. You do it. Quick.
Mine.
Quick. Look at Bob.
Good boy.
Well done.
What are you eating there, darling? Oh,
Good
well
boy.
done! Isaac!
Well done.
Yay!
Well done.
Well done. And
Good
can
boy.
he do it?
Yeah.
Can he?
Come on, Jacob.
Yay! Well
Good
done.
boy.
Good boy.
Move on to the next one.
Next one.
On to the next one.
Lift it up.
Oh! There we go, just like your brother.
Again.
That.
Isn't it fascinating?
Well done,
He is looking
Jacob.
over.
Absolutely, and seeing Mummy giving loads
Clever
of
Well
praise.
done. One more.
Look at this.
One more.
Done.
Well done, Jacob.
Good boy, Jacob.
Oh, yummy,
One
yummy,
more.
yummy.
Next one.
Next one.
Next
Let's
one.
move on. Whoa.
Yay!
Okay, you carry on, Jacob, because you are doing so well.
Do you like pizza?
Well done,
Okay,
Jacob.
well, maybe if he just
That's not
touches
good.
it,
No.
we could just touch it. Maybe we could just touch
This
it,
one.
Isaac.
This one.
Yes.
No.
What you got?
So we touch it.
That's
What
a
is
good
it?
boy.
That is brilliant. That is
Trying
so
to-
good. You're getting closer and closer.
Mm.
Beep, beep.
Beep beep.
Yay! Very good. But I have to say, look at you.
Next one.
Look what you got, Jacob.
Well done. Oh, what's that?
You can't open
Carrot.
Carrot. Good boy. Let's put that there. Right, what are we going to do with the carrot?
This is your favourite.
Are you going to pick
if
the
you
carrot?
eat all
You're going to
of
go
that-
beep beep with the carrot?
Oh, quick!
Go on then.
Quick!
Beep beep.
Good boy.
Good boy.
Yay! Very good.
No, sit still.
Very good. Are we
Yeah.
nearly there, Jacob? That is
Well done.
Clever boy.
Okay.
Clever boy.
Am I going to present you with your trophy? Okay.
Jacob.
I'd just like to say, on behalf of everybody in this house, how much pleasure it has been watching you competing in the Food Olympics, and I would like to say that you have won this top prize. Congratulations, sir. Very well done. Very well done.
Well done, Jacob.
Wow, well done.
Would you like to make a speech? Would you like to say anything? What would you like to say?
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Good
you
boy.
are a sweetheart. Good boy.
One more.
Yay!
Shall we open
open
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's really interesting, the anxiety to see what he's familiar with and what he isn't. Do you see what I mean, Steve? And what he'll touch and he won't touch. So,
Now, you're going to push my finger in it.
You do it.
Push my finger.
Yeah.
Push.
Eggo, push my finger. Ready? Ready, go.
Oh, no!
okay.
Well done.
Well done.
Well done.
So, Isaac, you have been a very good boy with your food.
Good boy.
So, who does this belong to?
Egg.
Egg, who's also known as Isaac.
Egg.
And so many names in this family. There we are, darling. Well done.
Well done.
Yeah.
Earlier in the evening, Tanya has asked Dad Richard Hadley to put Lucie to bed tonight, as Tanya feels their bond has grown after a successful day out as a family. Until now, their poor relationship has meant Dad Hadley has rarely attempted this, and in the past, Lucie has refused to let him settle her at all.
Yes. Because you've been very, very good today. And have you enjoyed it? See, you're a good girl. All right? So, thank you for a nice day. All right? And tomorrow, we'll have another nice day. We'll feed the rabbits, okay? We'll do some jigsaws, we'll do some colourings, and we'll play on the swings and the slides, and we'll have another good day.
Last night, Mum Alison sat with Lucie for over an hour before she went to sleep, but tonight Dad Richard leaves Lucie asleep after only 10 minutes. Yesterday it took Mum Michelle Wright over an hour to get sons 2-year-old Ross and 3.5-year-old Matthew to settle. On her third night at the House of Tiny Tearaways, she's desperate to reduce that time.
Bed. In. Go to sleep. I've come to see if I'm going to give this little boy a treat for going to bed tonight. I can see I am.
Yeah, he's really good. He's fell asleep there. Good boy, I'm just putting your vest on. Right, go on, so let's go. Right, take your dummy. Let's go to bed, okay? Say night-night to Tanya.
Night, darling. You show me how you get into your bed like a big boy.
Well done. Mommy coming. I'm going to come and put your jammy top on, okay? As soon as you can. You won't go to bed with
Yes,
that,
you will.
John.
Yes, you will.
Right. Well done. Right, you jump in. Right, and down. Night-night. Michelle, good night. Come on. Nice. But see, Ross, I honestly thought that. I can't believe it. This is just changing. This is changing everything, and it doesn't matter when I'm up tonight. I'm sure I might have a bubble if it's another bad night. But see, just to be able to do this, It's just, even just doing that is going to change everything at home, and it can only get better. Maybe once I thought I would chance my arm and just send him in, and I'm so surprised because they only came to door maybe twice.
As the night draws in, Tanya is keen to reiterate the gradual withdrawal technique to Mum Michelle.
The process that we have been using is called gradual withdrawal. Because they're so anxious about the new environment. I've put you in that environment with them, and you're gradually going to withdraw from the environment as their confidence grows. Now, they're confident to go to sleep in bed. They don't need you there because they're just doing it. So in the night, when you go in, try and touch them as little as possible.
Great.
And all I want you to do is just go shh, shh, shh.
Okay.
Shh, shh, shh. Because that noise, if they associate that with going to sleep, eventually all you have to do is pop your head around the door and go shh, shh, shh.
Both boys are finally asleep. But after waking 21 times last night, what kind of evening lies in store for Mum Michelle?